Most of you would probably label me as unpleasant. I don't do small talk. I don't throw around cheap compliments. And I sure as hell won't tell you a mediocre idea is fascinating, just to spare your fragile feelings. But here's the absolute kicker. That brutal honesty makes me infinitely kinder than the hypocrite smiling right into your face while watching you crash and burn. We've built a culture that worships the mask. Remember Archimedes, the owl from Disney's The Sword in the Stone? He's cranky. He's rude. He grumbles under his breath and never gives young Arthur a single grain of sugar. But when the kid is about to break his neck or get turned into a toad, Archimedes is the only one who dives into the dirt to save his life. We have walked straight into a devastating cultural trap. We confused superficial politeness with genuine care. Ask yourself right now, do you want an anesthetizing stroke that leaves you rotting in the swamp? Or a verbal slap that forces you one step higher? By the time this video ends, we are going to dismantle the illusion of self-righteous politeness, and I will hand you a neurological and psychological framework that is fucking unbeatable. To understand how we landed in this massive cognitive short circuit, we need to strip away the modern noise and examine the raw anatomy of language itself. The word gentleness stems from the Latin gentilis, derived from gens, belonging to the exact same noble lineage. The same clan, much like kindness, originally rooted itself in kin. In the Middle Ages and the era of courtly love, being gentle had absolutely zero to do with nodding like a domesticated pet or smiling at a corporate cocktail party. It meant possessing nobility of spirit, unyielding ethical value, and the raw courage to act for the ultimate good of the community. Fast forward to modernity, and we completely gutted this concept of its ethical backbone. We degraded it into a cheap set of etiquette rules, plastic smiles, sanitized language, and a pathologized, frantic avoidance of any social friction whatsoever. We traded structural utility for superficial comfort. But pay close attention here. Offering genuine, life-saving value and wrapping someone in comfortable bullshit almost never overlap. When the stakes are high, true care requires you to shatter the bubble of polite compliance. Picture this exact scenario. A close friend spends 3 brutal months slaving away at a critical project, a business pitch, or a script. They hand it to you for an advance review. You open it up, and it's a structural train wreck, glaring logical holes, complete disaster waiting to happen. How do you respond? Humanity instantly splits into 3 distinct operational archetypes. First, the complacent, the cowards who smile warmly and say, "Oh man, this is brilliant. What an incredible job." They say it with a glowing face, but deep down, they know it's utter garbage. Why do they do it? Not to help their friend, but to dodge the immediate discomfort of conflict. That isn't love. That's pure cowardice, disguised as benevolence. Second, the brutal. On the opposite extreme, you have the human sledgehammers. This sucks. Abandon ship, you're not built for this. They wield honesty as a weapon of destruction. Zero constructive intent. Just an ego-driven dump of personal frustration, asserting dominance without offering a single damn solution. And third, the constructive, the just. The rare few who look you dead in the eye and say, "I respect the massive effort you poured into this. But right here, here, and here, your logic collapses. If you present this now, you will get slaughtered. Sit down, let's fix this together." That is real loyalty. Arthur Schopenhauer stripped this exact dynamic bare centuries ago. Genuine kindness isn't the weak virtue of someone passing out cheap sugar cubes just to be liked. It is a profound, unwavering concern for the ultimate fate of another human being. Here is the mandatory question you must force into every single interaction. What is the real objective of this conversation? To hand them 10 minutes of artificial emotional relief, or to build unshakable, long-term utility? When you offer sanitized deceptions, you aren't protecting them. You are holding them hostage in a delusion. You are sacrificing their long-term evolution just to shield yourself from a moment of awkwardness. It's an emotional protection racket. Consider this your cognitive glucose pause. To map the full biological war inside your mind, subscribe and join the Nexus. Now, let's go deeper. Beyond ethics, beyond philosophy, straight into the cold, biological architecture of your brain. Why are we so neurobiologically addicted to pleasing others? Antonio Damasio's somatic marker hypothesis reveals the mechanics. The second you anticipate telling a harsh truth, your ventromedial prefrontal cortex simulates social conflict and immediately fires a negative somatic marker, microvisceral spasms, a subtle spike in heart rate, pure internal dread, to instantly extinguish that painful somatic reaction in your body. Your brain takes the path of least resistance, the polite lie. The second you appease them, your brain registers the danger as resolved, terminating the threat signal and resetting homeostasis. You aren't protecting them. You are prioritizing your body's short-term comfort over the truth. Neurologist Oliver Sacks documented this uncanny perceptual clarity in his clinical work. In hospital wards, aphasiacs, patients who had lost the ability to comprehend grammatical language, would burst out laughing during televised speeches by politicians. Why? Because deprived of words, their brains tuned directly into visceral tone and micro-expressions, instantaneously detecting the falsehood behind polite facades. And in cases of anosognosia, where patients are oblivious to their own neurological paralysis, family members often pretended everything was completely normal out of sheer kindness. But that artificial politeness didn't comfort the patient. It locked them out of reality, completely blocking their neuroplasticity and destroying any chance of rehabilitation. In Thomas Metzinger's philosophy of mind, this artificial politeness is nothing more than a desperate defense mechanism for your social avatar, your phenomenal model of the self. You aren't protecting the real world. You are frantically shielding a virtual simulation designed to guarantee your social acceptance. Carl Jung laid this core contradiction bare. Anyone terrified of uttering an uncomfortable truth is a puppet to their own persona and a hostage to their unintegrated shadow. Real goodness is never the pathetic absence of aggression. It is the mastery of aggression, harnessed as a tool for moral surgical justice. So how do we operationalize this without turning into toxic sociopaths? How do we execute moral surgery without triggering a useless war? It requires a precise two-step communicative protocol. Step 1. Pre-frame your intent before you touch the content. Never throw a critique cold. The human brain instantly flags an unannounced critique as a limbic attack, locking the amygdala into fight or flight mode. You must disarm their mentalization network by establishing the ethical container first. Look, I am genuinely struggling to bring this up because it's awkward, and I hate uncomfortable conversations, but I care too much about your result to stay quiet. So I need to be completely straight with you. Step 2. Neutralize defensive armor through tactical vulnerability. When tension spikes and you feel the other person digging their heels in, do not attack. Do not double down. Apply the psychological circuit breaker. Admit your own internal difficulty and make them your partner in solving it. Shift from confrontation to shared problem solving. Say, look, I am in a tough spot right now because I don't know how to phrase this without sounding harsh, but the core issue is still sitting right here, and we need to fix it together. By exposing your own discomfort, you instantly collapse the war between two inflated avatars, resetting the entire interaction back to objective reality. Superficial politeness has engineered a culture saturated with hypocrisy, where everyone trades fake applause in public while tearing each other apart in private. A life completely stripped of empathy is unlivable. But handing someone a constructive truth, delivered with pristine timing and ruthless care, is the highest act of respect you will ever perform. Shed the desperate anxiety of needing to be liked. Stop reassuring people while they are walking straight off a cliff. Do not be nice. Be just.